All right, 5 o'clock on a Friday. Let's do this. Let's hit the books, part of the Hammer Betting Network, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joey Knish, producer extraordinaire Zach Phillips. I am merely Brad Powers. Before we talk the 10 conference championship games, before we talk transfer portal news, before we talk head coaching carousel, before we get into maybe some additional best bets and maybe even some FCS playoff talk, let me remind everybody that Hit the Books is brought to you by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is to use multiple sports books and always getting the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Download the app today. If you're looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/hitthebooks, or you can hit that link in the description. If you sign up through this page, it does help support the show. Guys, make sure you are subscribing. We have recently topped the 4,000 mark, but we still want to continue our forward progress to the best and the most viewed show on this channel. So, what's happening, my main man? Any good word there? And since I talked to you last,
No, you know what? It was actually kind of a relaxing week, to be honest with you. Here, only 10 games on the board. A lot of the moves kind of happened early. Just a lot less. It's one of those weeks. Instead of having like 100 games going on, where you can sit back, enjoy the game, like you're watching kind of one at a time, maybe two at a time, just flipping between two games. If from a viewing perspective, this is how I like to consume college football, because Saturday's a normal regular season. I'm flying off the handle. You're losing my mind. I'm excited to enjoy some conference championship games here, and you really get to kind of dive into the games one at a time here. So one of my favorite, and again, this is we'll wax poetic here. This is probably going to be the last championship weekend with so much on the line in terms of the sport playoff. Going forward, the intrigue is going to be more, from just winning the conference, not really getting the playoff. So one of the swan song of the ultimate, championship weekend games.
Yeah, I think what'll honestly probably get more attention is the Group of 5 championship games, because there'll be one bid. So that'll probably get more of a spotlight, to be perfectly frank. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, everybody wanted to expand the playoff, but a little bit less of these regular season games are going to matter. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Let's just get right to the chat here and get to the 10 games that we got to cover. Charles in the chat, always first. He's sadly flying to the Charlotte during the show. Any quantifiable downgrade to Brock Glenn? Worth adding more under, waiting to play FSU money line. What price do you think we get to? FSU plus 115? No, I don't know if we get there. If we do, it'd be like right before the game when if Rodemaker is officially announced out. I'll let you answer. What do you think the downgrade is? You know what? I'll gut for me says maybe 1.5 is all.
Yeah, you know what? I mean,
if that,
the downgrade was already so significant, at least in the market, from Travis to Rodemaker, where these numbers, and you saw last week, and we talked about on the show that we thought it was just a little excessive, and they end up covering the number. They didn't play great versus Florida, but they end up covering the number because it was so dramatically shifted from Travis to Rodemaker. Now, I know friend of the show, Bud Elliott, and some of the people around the program like this.
They like Brock Glenn.
Yeah. So I mean, without seeing him in extended action, his first extended time going up, in an ACC title game versus a Louisville team, a good coaching staff that I respect. I don't know, but I think you've seen about this number goes about as far as you can. Player to player, Florida State still has better players than Louisville does. So to get any further than pick here just seems a bit rich to me.
I played FSU at pick today. Just
I did too.
Yeah. So
I can't get to this. And again, maybe this kid comes in, he has a disastrous game. It's his first try to, but I agree. I played some. I think there was a minus 115 earlier. They're still very close to that all around. I just think you're getting the better team at pick here, regardless of who plays quarterback. Louisville's been a great coaching staff, great season to get here. I think you're getting the better team at basically, even money. So I think that it was a number you had to play.
I agree. Are we going to best bet it or wait till later in the show?
What do you think here?
Let's talk the other games, because I mean, Tough best bet in one when we don't know
I will.
that
So
quarterback.
let's talk strategy though on the mark. I think if the Rodemaker gets confirmed out, you'll see that instant hit the
Yes.
section and then be able to get Florida State at even better than what it's trading at now. So if you're watching the show, you're going to be around for your announcement. If he's out, I think you'll get even a slightly better price than what we'd get right now.
Couldn't agree more. So that's how anybody listening or watching, that's how you attack it. Because I totally agree with that. You'll get that bump down again. And we already saw the market respond already to it so far today. Charles in the chat again. Any actual info for the FCS playoffs? Sadly, I don't have much this week. And I bet about every playoff game last week. I don't have much, hardly at all, to be honest with you. Delaware is probably going to have a third string quarterback. We've seen a lot of money on Montana.
Yeah.
You alerted me to Chattanooga's down probably a quarterback. Furman's getting back their quarterback after he missed the upset loss against Wofford in the regular season finale. I think home teams are 15-1 in this round the last 2 years. So keep that in mind. Keep in mind all the home teams are off a bye. Everybody else is, played last week as far as the road teams. I don't have much. I really didn't add much to the portfolio. I played a little bit of a number on Youngstown State, but was just playing a number there. But look, Circa has these lines up. I haven't seen much movement. I think they're pretty solid for the first time this year. I'm not seeing any like 3-4 point different disparities like I usually do.
No, I listen. I'm with you here. I don't really have too much in terms of strong opinions for the current market. And as you said, then the numbers, I mean, they're out there to be bet. They haven't really flown around. I think you'll see some movement tomorrow.
Yeah.
Chattanooga was a piece of news wise. Chattanooga lost their best defensive player. I think it was SoCon, like player of the year type guy. He's going to be out. The quarterback news is out there, but that's pretty baked into the number right now.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Chattanooga would be more around, probably 4-ish without that info. And so now it's up to 7. So that's one of those that I think it's kind of baked in here.
Weather could be an issue in that game.
Yep.
Heavy rain.
For sure. And you've seen that total, really come down. So, at current, I'd say a few leans would be, a Southern Illinois, if you can get the 7 out there, even a 6.5. It was a small play.
Concur on that. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think about, we're in the probably the most intriguing game, the Bison Montana State? I think anything 3 or better on the Bison is okay.
Yeah. 3 or I would lean North Dakota State. I was just waiting to see. Well, there's a 3.5 there. I was just waiting to see if it went to 3.5. To get involved a little bit.
Yeah, neither of those by any means are fantastic plays, bangers, or any of that. Just
no, there isn't. There was a few last week. I'm also anxious to see if there's market manipulation because I think there was last week in the North Dakota State game because I sent it out on Friday night to my buddy. I was like, hey, 37. Let's bet North Dakota State. This line should be in the 40s. And the market went down to 31.5 on game day. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Drake is a non-scholarship team. I mean, this is like Alabama playing forget South Alabama. It's like them playing Akron. I mean, this line should be not in the 30s. So we'll see if we get any market manipulation tomorrow. But again, I bet several hundred FCS bets this year. I think I'm over 300. I'm not wild about really anything right now. I'll check some weather. Could be some weather in the Montana game. And both Montana games. Yeah, I got nothing. I feel bad. We'll see, though. Maybe I'll tweet something out if something comes into range. Charles, again, in the chat. Tonight, we're all in on the Aggies. Jerry Kill and Pavia, we trust. Let's get this home, Joey K. Where you at? What's your feelings now?
Vamos Las Cruces. Hopefully they can. And I will say, I'll be watching closely to see if they can get out to a fast start. That's what I always say. If you got a ticket, they can get out to a fast start. Listen, this is a very hard. It reminds me a lot of this is App State and New Mexico State here, where if you look at the first half compared to the second half of the season, you would say maybe this number is even a little cheap, on Liberty, but New Mexico State over the last month has hit a level of play they probably haven't hit in this program in 100 years. So I don't know. They beat Auburn by 3 TDs and smoked them. They beat Jacksonville State, who we really liked in that game. So I don't know. I would say Liberty obviously had a very, soft schedule for the most part this year. But the better team, I don't know. It's just one that I think the line's about fair at 10. The overs gotten taken action today. I'll say if New Mexico stake it out early, I'll probably be buying a little Liberty money line. That's about, other than that, we'll root for the fight and Jerry Kills here.
Yeah, I agree with that action there. As of right now, I don't see much value side or total as far as making a pre-flop bet right now. LVD in the chat. How do you plan to reevaluate things going into next year? Well, loaded question. I'm going to sound like a dick, so I'll just preface that. If I knew exactly what to do, I'd have changed it immediately, considering how poorly the season's gone. With that being said, I don't want to overreact. Like, I'll say this. The tout service, I gave out SMU Tulane under 52.5. It's 47 right now. If it loses, what do I say to myself? Hey, don't give out a fucking play that, move 5 points anymore. I don't know. I had more CLV than ever before. Do I have more market influence? Yeah, but I don't know. I know it doesn't sound like it's a small sample size, but 150 plays, you go bad, you run bad 10, 15, change outcomes in 10 or 15 games and then see what happens. So I honestly don't want to overreact too much, because if the market was immediately shoving these bets right back in my face and saying you're an idiot, then I would be super concerned. And it hasn't been that this year. And the only thing I want to react to is the portal. I don't want to immediately disregard teams because of the portal. I think a lot of times I just said, half the team's gone. Let's not, like a Texas State. They had to go 40 or 50 guys in the portal. I bet under their win total, and obviously way wrong on something like that. So I'm going to let the market get real negative on some of these teams that are transfer portal heavy and maybe come in on the positive. That would be one change right now off the top of my head. But anything on that you're thinking?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the portal there, because I think, you're only going to see increasing volume of guys kind of going on. So that's one that I tend to, and that's, I will say, and it ended up being okay in the end. But I think Colorado, doing such a drastic change there and going and thinking it's going to be an outright disaster. And again, they didn't get to, some of the later win totals, but I agree there that it's seemingly more realistic to change up a program over the course of a summer and a fall now than ever before, where you had kind of this constant delineation of a program being at a certain level and not being able to go drastically more than a few points either way. Now you see teams like, from a power rating standpoint, that might be 3 touchdowns different from year to year, depending on who they lose and who they staff or who they gain. So, yeah, I would say that'll be something that to kind of look further into over the offseason and maybe attack more aggressively early on.
And I'll be self-deprecating. That is something I struggle with, because I am not built to adjust teams' power ratings 2-3 touchdowns. I'm just not at all. So maybe just stay off of those types of teams.
Because that hasn't been how the games work since we've been alive. That hasn't been how college football, from a handicap or a betting standpoint, has ever worked in, going back since I don't know, since the Prohibition or whatever. So it's just a new era that obviously you've got to adjust to.
I know I've been watching more games this year, not necessarily for this year, but for next year with these guys hit the portals. Okay, what type of loss is this? And the school that he's going to or not, can he contribute immediately? So I went more watching specific players than ever before, anticipating a lot of this. But I will say this. I'm glad I'm not doing hoops. I'm going to need every month to prep for next year that I can get. Because, these are 30 to 40% across the board, new teams. So, but as far as the roster, so yeah, I'll probably be generally speaking, I'll be a little bit more conservative. Not bet the board, so to speak. Sox fan in the chat. If I like Oregon tonight and DeBoer doesn't lose when he gives up less than 40, am I crazy to like Oregon team total over 39.5 at plus money? I'm not opposed to that bet. I think a couple things. Oregon has motivation for margin as a team because they have no idea what's happening tomorrow. They have motivation to get Bo Nix the Heisman Trophy if given the opportunity. So I'm not against that. Are you?
No, me neither. Man, this is one of those that it just kind of seems like it's setting up for an Oregon burial here.
Yeah.
I think you could see a lot of things that, like, Knicks clinched the Heisman tonight with a big performance. Oregon, Washington, just an insane run of games. They've been incredibly lucky in one-score games. A team that was really, really fun. Obviously, better number there if you got access to Caesars and what you were saying there. Just the last month, and I know Penix has had there's just a lot of rumors circulating. There's a nagging injury. There was a flu. He's had some mental health issues in the past that, a performance anxiety and that might be creeping up and, kind of weighing on him. So just a lot of things where it's like he has to play so well to even give them a chance in this game. You need 400-yard, 4-touchdown Michael Penix. And I don't know if Washington's got that bullet in the chamber where Oregon seems like they're ready to just kind of absolutely. And I like Lanning in this kind of environment, so
I do too.
I don't know, man. Oregon putting up a big number wouldn't surprise me here.
Yeah, if I were to play a team total, maybe them in Texas over their team total would be two that
just
I'd
ratings wise. I wouldn't say, like, normally if you're looking like a number, do I think 10's high? Yeah, a little bit, but situationally with the way things have gone and the spot and all that, you factor those things in, it kind of seems like it could get away from Washington here.
Agree. Austin in the chat, do you guys like Milroe over 38.5 rushing yards? Georgia allowed 125 rush yards to Thorne and Ashford in the Auburn game. Feel like they haven't been tested versus any other mobile quarterbacks. Yeah, and Haynes King actually got him a little bit last week too. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. And Georgia doesn't get any pass rush typically. They don't, get after the quarterback too much. So I'm not against it. What are you saying? What does your boy franchise say?
You know what? Haven't played that one. I've heard a couple of people kind of, around the space that like that because of the matchup where Georgia's kind of been, had trouble with mobile QP. The one thing I would caution there is a little bit that Milroe seems to, they've been definitely, in the early scheme with him was super rush dependent. They've seemed to kind of switch to more of a pass, and he's been good with taking, the deep shots and that, But if Bama's trailing in this one, is it higher scoring? So I can kind of make the case both ways. It's just one that, either way at 40 is a big number. And, obviously Georgia hasn't had the pass, but you take sack yardage out of that if they, they want to bring more pressure on them this one. So just it's probably a no play for me there.
Yeah, McClellan banged up at running back too. So maybe they feature him a little bit. I would lean that way. I think that's the correct way of thinking. Camp Kelly in the chat, App State +5. A lot of money on App State this week. That's one that's moved. I'm not there though. Are you?
Not anymore. This is one that, when it got up, there were some juice 7s there. And that I played for somebody there, and some 6.5s. It gets bought down. At the same time now that it's 5, this is New Mexico State, Liberty, just a smaller spread where you take the first 6 weeks of App State and you mix that in. But over the last month, they've been running it up. So are you going to get this team that's been on the, a bender for 4 or 5 weeks, or are they going to, water kind of finds its level here?
Check you out today. You're bringing your A game.
Hey, I'm locked in. I'm locked in, baby. We got the Las Cruces appetizer on tap. But man, that makes it tough to me, let's say, especially now. I couldn't bet it anymore.
Yeah, and just
lean the other way.
I'm in like these contests. I laid 4.5 with Troy. I just think I don't like the coach of App State, and they're too inconsistent. I know at some point, go back to last season. North Carolina, the wire. They're beating A&M, and then they somehow finish 6-6. They're too up and down, and I know what I'm getting from Troy week in and week out for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So Troy for me. And I also compare it just a few weeks ago. App State was getting 10 at James Madison. I know they won outright, but Troy is kind of in that same boat power ratings wise to James Madison. So I don't think you're catching a cheap line there, at least at the current number. Brendan in the chat, any coaching carousel portal scoops? Yeah, I don't have any. You got any inside info? Dante Moore, Michigan State, or what?
I would say I think Dante Moore is coming back to the state of Michigan. But which program?
Ooh,
we'll see. But I think both in-state programs are very, very interested. And depending on, I will say, if Jonathan Smith, I think it's going to depend what Childs from Oregon, if he hits the
Who would you
portal.
rather have, Childs or Dante Moore at this point?
I tell you what, Dante Moore, as a recruit, I thought he was, like a lot. He did not play. He didn't have a good year. You call it what it is. I think, either one of those staffs can kind of reinvigorate him.
Yeah.
But I think I'd still take the potential of Moore. But I think
that was bad, though. I don't care if you're a freshman.
It's funny because it didn't start off, the year start off okay, and then it like fell off a cliff. And then when they put him back in, it was like, oh my God, this guy's a disaster. So I will.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Coming to Michigan.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think he fits that Michigan culture if Harbaugh's still there.
That's a fair point, but I will say that I know there's mutual interest. I'll say that right now.
All right, I like that. That'd be cool. In that regard, putting on the soap opera type stuff in entertainment value, it's fun. Transfer portal is fun.
I agree. It's exciting. CFP free agency.
Yeah, betting it and figuring out stuff requires more work. I'll put it that way. It's intriguing in that regard. I don't think it's necessarily always great for the players. Keep in mind, yeah, I'm pro player. I love that they're getting paid. I love they can do whatever they want. But half these kids that are entering the portal are effectively ending their careers. I don't think a lot of these kids aren't getting good advice. So we'll see what ends up shaking out there. Weren't you tweeting about Riley Leonard situation, the tampering?
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently, it's no Connor Stallions, apparently. But listen, here's what I'm going to say about this. Personally, this is the second year in a row that Notre Dame has gone in real early, and handled their business and gotten themselves a quarterback. It's not official yet, but listen, they're going to go in. The guy went and did it for Sam Hartman last year, identified a quarterback early. We need a quarterback next year. Cut him the check, whatever it is. So you get the deal done and you get a quarterback. I'm fine with that. However, also, when you go into the portal as a non-contact, like, what? Is it even a rule? We can't talk to other teams' players? Like, if you go in the portal as a non-contact, the deal is already done. You might as well have a big red marker that says, I am signed with X already. So I'm fine with all that happening, but, like, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares that we're going to go poach guys off other teams' rosters and give them $1 million deals. But sign stealing is a big issue. So that's all I'm going to say. Fine, good for Notre Dame, good for Leonard, but, like, what is the NCAA? Crickets. Connor Stallions go sitting in a row, 800, taking an iPhone video, and we got to get the FBI involved. But Riley Leonard,
I'm fine with both, to be honest with you. I'm actually
just get rid of all the rules.
I can't believe it. There was a few people getting up in arms on the Michigan and Notre Dame. Those are the programs that are Exhibit A and B for cheating. Nobody's saying anything about Miami flipping that kid from Ohio State.
Miami flips a D tackle where the guy's got money in his announcement, sacks of cash, and nobody cares. But
Notre Dame and Michigan,
Notre Dame, and so any little bit of dirt, we can go crazy.
Speaking of Notre Dame, obviously we'll get to this as we break it down bowls. They got a significant issue in the wide receiver room. I mean, most of their wide receivers have hit the portal. So good news and bad news when it comes to Notre Dame. I'm impressed that they've handled their business as far as the quarterback. That's how a program should operate, at least until the rules are different.
Right.
I like it that they've handled their business. And there is no, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? They have their idea. Let's see if they can figure out some other positions. And again, I reemphasize this. I was pro the sign stealing. I just was. I mean, I don't get how that was such a big deal. Michigan proved it on Saturday. That wasn't a big deal, in my opinion. Bert Brownie's in the chat. Please comment on Prime benching Sean Lewis. Oh, this is the coaching news. And then Lewis getting a head coaching job. Real bad look for the Buffs. Let me start with a positive. Real good hire for San Diego State, a program they've won a lot of games playing defense and physical football under Rocky Long, and they had one good year under Hoke. But, man, to open that up, that'd be some fun stuff with that offense there. So that'll get some more fan attention. I like the hire quite a bit because, I mean, we well know what happened to Kent State this year on this program without Sean Lewis.
We do. I mean, Bud Elliott's been all over this, but if you look at what's happening with Colorado, it really makes it seem like Prime's going to go crazy portal again. His kids are going to then graduate, and then he's out. So the fact that they've lost 3 recruits, their high school recruiting class only has like 7 guys in it or something like that at the moment. They're going to bring in 40 guys from the portal, and Prime's probably going to take another job in a year. And in the end, I don't know. I mean, Colorado, it got a lot of hype, but it seemed to have petered out pretty well. And the way he handled that Sean Lewis thing, I mean, Tim Beckman left the staff too. Like, I don't know, man. It's been a bad look the last few months.
Not bad enough for him not to get Sportsman of the Year, though.
Sports Illustrated, I tell you what.
Because Prime, when you talk about sportsmanship, the first thing you think of is Deion Sanders, Coach Prime. Jesus. Ridiculous. You know what, people, it's not even hate on Coach Prime. You know what people really get tired of? It getting shoved down our throats constantly from stuff like Sports Illustrated. Nobody wants to see that crap anymore. They're 1-8 in Pac-12. Don't give us this shit. That's what people are sick of more than anything.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Alex mentioned that IU getting Signetti from JMU.
Oh, yeah.
What a snag. I thought their candidate, like the candidate pool that I had heard selling was like, oh my God, it's a great hire. I don't know if he's going to be able to win. Nobody can win.
Yeah.
You know, they have like, I think it was like 4 bowl games out of the last like 38 years or something where they've been bowl eligible, but impossible job, but great hire.
I think he doesn't look it. Did you know he's 63? That's how they might have pulled it off. Hey, he looks 50.
I did not.
I think he's 63, so that's how I think they pulled it off.
Yeah, nice little retirement sum of money there.
Actionable. I'm anxious to see what happens to JMU because that was a team I was looking to bet on in the bowl game. Now, not so much. So, yeah, we'll have to we'll be talking that in the next few weeks because a lot to sift through on these teams, especially the teams that are losing their coaches. John in the chat, please resolve the Oak State Texas total battle. Which way is the right side? I'll let you.
This has been a battle.
Yeah, I like the over still. I really do. I know your boy likes the under. I like the over. So what's wrong?
Listen, Joey K might have, spankied this one here and, played both sides a little bit, but I don't, you know what? I can see a lot of game scripts happening here where Texas wants to drop a 50. I mean, obviously, they want to put up whatever number they can in that. And Oklahoma State's defense is pretty shoddy. On the flip side, I don't know how much success Oklahoma State can have where they want to, pump Ollie Gordon and have explosive plays in that. And it's going to be tough to do versus Texas defense. They haven't seen a defensive front like this all season. They're just Big 12 teams don't have the kind of talent that Texas does in the front seven. So, And I don't know if Alan Bowman is, going to be able to throw it around the park here. So I'm conflicted. At the same time, though, could I see this, Texas dropping 49-10 or something like that? Sure. So I just middled this game if I'm being completely honest here.
Well, we're gonna root since we have a best bet on the over. We're gonna root for the over.
We're gonna root for the over.
Yeah, I will say this: Blue Horseshoe, 3-star Big 12 Championship game of the year, or however he's promoting it and touting it, is on the over. And keep in mind, he's not an originator. He is getting that from the one group that is winning this college football season. It's copy and paste.
I'll say at the number that we gave out early, I love it. I'm saying now.
Yeah, 55 is a key number. So, all right, there we go. I probably didn't solve any issues there. I'll take it. I'll take the heat. I still like the over. Tom in the chat, play any make or miss playoffs. Have you done anything? Yeah, this is a very intriguing market because there's a lot of different scenarios. Who has these up right now?
So there's a lot of the legals have them. I've seen them at FanDuel, seen them at Caesars. I have played some Texas, at like plus 160-ish there. Obviously, if you're thinking, Florida State has a chance to lose, could Texas then jump in? I feel like it's too sexy for the committee to leave out if given the opportunity. Now, the fact that they were at 7 gave me a little bit of, I thought that the committee would bump them up a little higher to kind of make that transition if Florida State off easier. But I think if Georgia wins, Michigan wins, Oregon wins, and Florida State loses, Texas that's come down from obviously where I played it, but kind of jumps in there and is able to get that 4th spot. It's too good to pass up. How do you pass that? If you're the committee and you're talking about money and ratings and 4 best team or whatever, yada, yada, are you going to pass up Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Oregon? I don't think so.
I hope not. That's my hope. That's what I'm rooting for. Man, that would be that might be our best semifinals we've had in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think I'd go to the Rose Bowl game, to be honest with you. One final time. Pac-12 champ, Big Ten champ, that matchup. I mean, that line's going to be what? Close to pick 'em?
Yeah.
I hope that – nothing against Florida State fans, but that would be beautiful if we got that. Greg in the chat, how upset will Knish be when Iowa wins this weekend?
Let me tell you something, Greg. I tell you, they're not hit the books. You can put this show in the end if they lose outright. Cover or non-cover is one thing. If they lose to this Iowa team, I throw out the record books and then throw out my content career because I'm not. It's gonna be like when you stop doing college basketball. I'm done doing talking college football if they lose because I don't. This is again, it's one thing to like they lose to Ohio State last week. Great game, back and forth. They lose that game. A game of inches, yada yada. This Iowa team is, and to be honest with you, I think their defense is a little overrated too. It's got some nice stats. They've gone up against I thought the median offense they've gone against is like 95th in the country. And now you're going up against Michigan with all the offense that's the worst in the country. But what do you think of this Iowa team here?
Surprised. I was stunned. I went and got what was that, Wednesday morning? Like it was like going to 24. I'm like, okay, now maybe I can talk myself into Iowa. I come back from I forgot. I don't want to talk coffee in front of you. Anyways, I get back and I'm like, what the hell? Who just bet Iowa? I moved like 1.5 points. I couldn't believe I thought they'd wait a little longer. No, I'm not part of it. I can't get there. The only team they played in Michigan's wheelhouse was Penn State. It was 31-0. They couldn't even get a first down. I mean, it's like, what, they had like 70 yards of offense that game? And Alar sucks on the Penn State side. And Michigan's, I don't care how banged up they are. Michigan's way better offensively than Penn State. Woo! I don't know.
I'm with you. I think
I'm getting ready to lay. I'll be honest with you. I'm getting ready to lay Michigan.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if you can get a -21, -1. I think this is one of the rare scenarios where buying a 21 is worth it here due to the low total. And I think 21 -120. I don't even know if Zach can put that in the app, but I'll give you that's the number. I laid some 21. And I'd lay 21, no problem.
And my power ratings are 24. So yeah, 21. I would start betting Michigan. 2 years ago, Michigan just got the big. They broke the streak against Ohio State. Which I know this year's Ohio State game was huge and a big win. But breaking the streak, I thought, hey, they might be a little flat a couple years ago. And that was a better Iowa team. They beat them 42-3. Come on, Jacob in the chat. Bama money line plus the over. I like the over. I don't like Bama money line.
I don't love Bama money line either. I know I had some guys I work with bet Bama once it got to like 6.5. They obviously came back down a bit. I know this isn't a vintage Georgia defense. We talked about this on the Monday show. I just think this is like the polar opposite of what these two teams used to be, where it's now Alabama that had to scrap and claw and get through to win the division, to get to the championship game, to play the Death Star that is now Georgia. And I kind of think Georgia handles their business. They're better, they're just a better overall team. And
what is the line if Alabama doesn't complete 4th and 31 last week?
Right. Great point. It's definitely I think you're getting a touchdown.
I think at least we would have seen 7 pop.
I agree.
At some point this week. We never really did, but there would have been
and I know this is Bama. Some people said this Bama defense is better than anybody Georgia faced. That's fair. But
it's not an elite Bama defense compared to.
It's not this elite, unit that's been unpenetrable. It's good in relative to, but I think to win in college football now with great defense, you have to be like off like what Georgia's had on the field, and even then they had the offense to score. So I don't know, man. I agree. I could only lay it at this point with Georgia.
I do like the over. I bet the over. Tout Service has given out the over. Tent has given out the over. Another podcast I do. I respect those guys. They give out the over. So Like the over, especially shop around 55 is good. Still, there you go. Aaron in the chat. Oh, I'll say this. I mean, also Alabama's defense. I mean, when your best player on the back end, by far the back seven, counting the linebacker units, is a true freshman, that's saying I don't know if you've done a great job of recruiting or developing your talent there. When Caleb Downs come in, he's automatically your best player. Aaron Saunders in the chat. Any chance we see Washington 10 before kick? I think we do again. We saw a buyback on Washington 10 this morning.
Yeah. Depending on where you bet, there's some 10s out there right now.
Battle in the market.
Yeah. So, and I get what you said. I get it. The 10 number is high. Just from ratings is high. But I just think you get one of those feelings where you think that Oregon can just bury them. So
I think they do.
Yeah.
I think you want to get goofy tonight. Alt lines for Oregon. I'd start looking at that. I really do think it's a blowout tonight. Yeah, and there was some money. I didn't know who was did you know what group bet Washington plus 10 this morning? That happened early.
I do not.
But that got shoved back in their face here in the last couple hours. Bert in the chat, if this is the swan song of championship week, are the Bulls on borrowed time? I hope not, but man, when did teams start opting out of bowls? Because I mean, if you can't have a roster, because I'm already thinking as a Notre Dame fan, I'm like, I don't want these guys to play in a bowl now. I mean, they're down to like 3 scholarship wide receivers. Do teams start opting out of bowl games now?
It's a great question, and I thought we've talked about the decline of bowls for years now. That it seems harder to get sponsors depending on where, like, if you're not, especially now once the playoffs there, as you're saying, like if you don't make it, and you're a Power 5 team, are you gonna? However, there's still this like motivational angle that almost every program, middle tier to lower tier of getting to a bowl as like we want to get there and have it. So I don't know if they'll go away. I agree with that. Like the logistics of like having a roster and going it is just going to be continually tougher. I don't know. I don't think they're great money making opportunity. A lot of these stand, they're not selling great tickets. Not a lot of the, I don't know. Just these aren't premium events anymore. But I kind of still think they'll just continue. So I don't really know. I think the quality of play probably is going to be at an all-time low pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're going to go away.
I mean, they're kind of almost becoming exhibition games where, here's
exactly.
what I would say. When you're doing your end of season power ratings, you probably want to ignore that final data point if it's a bowl game, especially if it's not, a non-playoff game. I wouldn't be touching your power rating regardless of what the hell happened in the game. I would just leave that alone. That's what I would take from that. I can't even say Artur Dominguez. Man, I'm terrible. Sitting on under 52.5 in Tulane, play back a little at over 46.5. I wouldn't I got under 52.5 too. That's what I gave it out. I'm not looking to play back. That's just me.
I wouldn't play that back either. I guess the obviously unknown here is how to quantify Jennings, how he goes up against Tulane. I know you've got a stronger opinion on this one than I do. I got to be honest with you. If this got through 3, I think I would be leaning towards the green wave personally. But I understand why, you kind of just what we talked about with Rodemaker, where the Stone info was kind of baked into the number, but then the news hit and people ran and blasted it at the screen. You've got a lot of like these trading groups. There's just more people that are active in the market now that see an alert and just go bet it. And so there's not this, logistic where that, when this get up to 6, it's like at 4, it was kind of already baked in. Then you're getting 2 free points because the announcement comes out and some people are just jamming it. So, I think kind of now it's back in the fair range, but I might go if this got through 3, I'd kind of be on 2. You know what? End of year head to head at 3.
At 3? Oh my God. You're killing me. No, I mean, yeah, because you know what? I gave you that ridiculous. You thought I was on crack when I gave you what my number was without Stone. And you really thought I was on crack when I got out to 6? Like, this guy doesn't know shit. So we did at least get some buyback. Yeah, let's go head to head at 3. I'll ride SMU.
I like it.
I think they're by far the better team. I'll ride the Jennings kid. Oof, I'm in trouble there. That's probably the swan song for Willie Fritz. I think Coaching news, I think he gets the Houston job, which would be
Okay.
a really good hire for Houston.
I
And
agree.
a big loss for Tulane. I think he's a little pissed off with what's going on at AD with Tulane, the athletic department. He lost his AD who hired him, and then he doesn't like who they picked. Spammy Sosa in the chat. Any value left on national championship futures? I'm not there. Are you?
No, I mean we pontificated a little Monday that like one place had a Texas 12-1.
Yeah.
I've heard some people that Oregon 5-1 has been okay.
Oregon 5-1. They play Michigan. They're going to be like, say Oregon has to play Michigan and Georgia.
Right.
I mean,
and then factor in tonight, obviously having to win tonight. So.
Money line rollover there.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't
they would be
so.
pick them against Michigan and a slight dog against Georgia. Just roll that over. You'll be fine.
And the Texas was, if I would feel a lot more bullish on Texas if they were ranked like 5 or 6 or ahead of these.
Yeah.
There's a chance where I think and I know we got into it. It got spicy Monday that if Georgia
loses, I think there's a chance that I'll be retired come Monday.
I don't know if Ohio's, was Ohio State dead?
I thought so, but now the more I think about, maybe not. I don't know either. I think there's a chance that Monday will be the retirement show because I came out strong and said there's no way. Yeah, there's probably a way. They don't want to see the show continue. Considering the results this year, maybe that's a good thing. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you. I kind of hope it's pretty buttoned up and we have Florida State out of there. Nothing against Florida State, but just don't want to see a team with a backup quarterback. I don't care who you are. I don't want to see that. And just have all the favorites win except Florida State. And I think it should be pretty self-explanatory on what the matchups should be. Georgia, Texas in the sugar, Oregon, Michigan in the rose. Beautiful. Patrick in the chat. I got Oklahoma State 18-1 to win the Big 12. Any way to hedge the bet besides something live? I don't know. Do you like Texas? I mean, I always say this. Is it life-changing money? We mentioned this on Monday. If it's not, well, what do you like in the game? Do you want to lay points at Texas? If that's something that you would normally bet, then go ahead and bet that. If not, I don't know. Just don't hedge the hedge.
Yeah,
if not, I guess
money line.
It's
minus 700 or higher everywhere where you don't really have enough liquidity. I mean, you can guarantee yourself, a unit or something, but just one of those where it's the money line so steep there. It's tough to do much.
Trip in the chat. Any idea where Grayson McCall lands? Reunite with Chadwell. I don't think there's a strong market for Grayson McCall this year.
Really?
Injured again? I've heard rumors that up here ain't all up there. So
interesting. Okay, I will, because since there has not been many rumor like the Cam Wards, the Dante Moores, it was instantly like boom, 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 boom. These teams are interested. Yeah. You haven't really seen that with McCall.
No. And the backup came in. The third stringer came in and played about as well as what Coastal had all year at quarterback. So I don't know. I guess maybe. Is the Salter kid gone at Liberty? If he's got eligibility, I would think they could stay with him at Liberty. So I don't know. McCall needs a tutor. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I'm telling you, I've heard it from reliable sources. He could not get into Auburn or Florida. Could not get in. That's saying something. Dane in the chat. I'm serious. I'm not joking. I heard it from multiple people and not just some rumors on a message board, like legitimate, journalists told me he couldn't get in. Dane in the chat. Back to Oregon. Joey Props have a take on Knicks over 2.5 TDs minus 150. I kind of like that. Do you?
I would say
that fast TDs?
Yeah, I was going to say TDs? Total TDs for sure. Because I think you might get a little bit of run action there. But in my Missouri Dane here, at passing TDs, I think it'd be a little rich for me. If it's only passing, no. If it's total TDs, I think you'd get a few dips. So I'd probably stay away at that. Yeah, it's pretty juiced up there.
TD now. Passes. Okay, fair enough. That's kind of telling you it's going to be a good night for old Knicks at that price. My goodness. Shane in the chat, Oklahoma State plus 15.5. Gundy has a double-digit dog. I mean, I get it. That's kind of prevented me from laying more with Texas, but I don't think Oklahoma State's very good. But they're a high variance team. I don't know what I'm getting. You still don't know what you're getting from them. I mean, hell, you didn't even know what you're getting the last 2 weeks. Big 12 championship bursts on the line. They're down 24-6 against BYU at home, a terrible BYU team. So I didn't make that bet. And I haven't heard anybody really recommend it. Have you?
No, not really. I know it got a little. I mean, there were some 16s out there, so it got a little bit of buyback before it got to 17. But no, not for me either.
Luke in the chat, the real question everybody needs to know: has Knish broken his promise of not watching any college basketball?
Not 1 second so far. And it's been. I tell you what. You know what? It's the most stress-free week I've had in months, and I'm feeling good. And I'm not going back to it. I'll tell you that right now. So
not even taking a peek tonight. I think there's a big Connecticut at Kansas, really big game.
Hell no. I'll be watching New Mexico and Oregon, Washington. So no, I'd rather listen. I'd watch some Food Network before I'm watching that crap. So yeah, I'm out on college basketball.
I like it. Joe in the chat, taking Bo Nix props, 350 plus pass yards, plus 174, 400 pass yards for plus 430. Thoughts? Yeah, the alternative markets make sense. Spread wise, Bo Nix props. So yeah, I'm not going to downgrade. I'm not going to poo-poo any of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you want to take some sprinkles, I'm right. The alt spreads or alt Nix spread, I don't mind that at all.
Do we have another best bet? We gave out on Monday. We gave out the over in the Oklahoma State-Texas game. We gave out the over in the App State-Troy game. Both have moved, so we got some CLV. No surprise there. We'll see if we can get home as far as the wins and losses. Anything you want to go over? We did not go over the MAC championship game. Do you want to hit that?
You know what? I'll go Joey props here, and we're gonna. Yeah. He did us dirty last week. But we're gonna go McCarthy rushing yardage this week for Michigan, Iowa rushing props there, Mr. Phillips, to see what we can get here, because we're gonna try and get back on the McCarthy rush train. Listen, by all indications, this is as healthy as he's been in 3+ weeks. He got banged up in the Penn State game. The run was off against Maryland. They brought in, it was he moved around a little bit versus Ohio State, but they weren't doing a ton of RPOs. If you believe what he says and what's kind of coming from the program, he's healthier. I think Iowa, the strength of their defense is pass D. I went over on McCarthy rushing yardage here. I think the RPO stuff will be back on this week, and you'll see McCarthy moving around a little bit more. And Michigan really focusing on the run game in a game where they should lead. They should be able to pound it. And Iowa's defense is, their back seven is kind of the strength there. So I think the McCarthy run keeps will be back on this week. That's kind of a gut feeling there. And the number now is low because of the last few weeks. So took over.
All right. Joey props back at it, even on a small card. 2 games. Did anything in the MAC for you? I kind of lean Miami, Ohio. I know your boy likes Toledo, but I lean anything over a touchdown on Miami there. Under was the play, but that's long gone.
Yeah. I kind of lean that way too with the Red Hawks. I just think way better special teams, better coaching staff, all the intangible, all the stuff, the kind of stuff that can keep you in games. Miami, Ohio has, and they've been using that this year. I think that, I like it over at TD.
What about the Mountain West game?
I like that. Is one game I don't have a single dollar on. Spread, total, props, nothing so far. Do you have it? Do you have any takes there? This is like I know our boy the 10 was on over today. I got nothing.
Yeah, I bet over early in the week, so I was glad to see some confirmation there. I think that's the right side there, the over. I'm on an island. Everyone's telling me UNLV's the side. I'm not. I like Boise. I think Cinderella is invited to the dance, but she's got a curfew. UNLV's curfew. You saw it last week. It continues this week. I don't know. Boise. I trust Ashton Genty, Halani, and the guys up front in Boise more than I do UNLV. I just do. That's how it is. They played the tougher schedule. And, man, go back through Boise's schedule, man. What's the line if the Hail Mary touchdown pass doesn't happen against Colorado State? They had that fluky kick return touchdown against them against Fresno. A blocked field goal return touchdown against them in Memphis game. They ended up losing by 3. UCF hit a field goal on the final play to beat them. Say a couple of those go their way and they're 9-3. Is it 2.5? No, it's probably 3.5. Just change two plays. So, I mean, I'm Boise. But I've heard that I'm wrong. So, and I've been wrong a lot this year. I've sucked. So, I don't know.
I don't mind. I guess listen, gun to my head, I would lean with you and take Boise too.
I'll be at the game. Tickets are only $20. Yeah, tickets are only $20. I haven't been to a game all year. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I know I'm gonna. Oh my God, I'm gonna miss Alabama, Georgia, but I don't know. I just thought $20. I'll go to the game. I've never seen Boise. I'm a college football fan. I've never seen Boise in person, so we'll see what happens. Probably lose. That's it. I don't think I got anything else. I'm trying to think if we haven't skipped any games. We hit a little bit of the portal, hit a little bit of the coaching news. Best bets again. McCarthy over rush yards. Props. Joey props there. Over in a couple of games. Big 12 Championship game over 54.5. Over 51. We got some nice CLV there on that one on App State Troy. That'll do it, guys. For Mr. Joey Knish, the man, the myth, the legend himself. For producer extraordinaire Zach Phillips. I'm merely Brad Powers. Thanks to everybody that watched. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button. And also, guys, for any show updates, make sure you are following us on Twitter at HitTheBooksHQ or at the Hammer HQ. That'll do it. We'll talk to you guys Monday at 5.